Hello everyone and welcome to Uncharted Parenting, a podcast brought to you by Encounter Youth. Parenting is one wild adventure. It's full of twists, turns and plenty of uncharted territory. But don't worry, you're not navigating it alone. We're here with you. And each episode here on the pod, we dive into some real conversations, expert insights from some amazing professionals from various fields, and honest stories to help you find your way in this parenting journey. I'm your host, Louis, the Education and Parent Coordinator at Encounter Youth. Before joining the team here, I enjoyed 9 years serving as a police officer in the South Australian Police, but most importantly, I'm the proud dad of 2 boys. Welcome to Uncharted Parenting because, let's be honest, no one really has a map for this journey. Let's dive in. On today's episode, we hear directly from a parent of a Year 12 student about why there was no way they were letting their daughter go to Schoolies Festival. So let's see what they really think. Thank you for joining me, Shane, today. So we're really excited to actually get a parent on the podcast and really get a parent's perspective about Schoolies Festival. So that's really what we're here to speak about today. But before we go any further, I'm going to ask you a few questions. But tell us a little bit about yourself, mate. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I guess a bit of background, Adelaide boy, grew up here, stayed here. I got 2 girls. One's 17, 18 soon, Year 12, so, going into schoolies later this year. Youngest daughter's 12. Married, live in the northeast suburbs and grown up there. So,
Beautiful. Yeah.
Probably not too much more to say. Socially, fitness, cycling's my thing now.
Yeah.
Used to be tennis. Used to be snowboarding, used to be wakeboarding, but injuries and ages.
The best way to tunnel down the river then if you're into your wakeboarding.
Yeah. Parents had a shack down there. Now they've got one at the beach, but I've got mates that have got shacks and boats.
Yeah.
So.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you're definitely busy and probably busy as well with 2 girls as well.
Yeah. Challenging times, but they're good.
Both probably in the midst, well, I guess your 17-year-old daughter would be in the midst of heavy study at the moment with Year 12 and everything.
Yeah, that's right, Year 12. So she wants to be a primary school teacher.
Beautiful.
So she's doing Certificate 3 in Early Childhood.
Nice.
As well as Year 12.
Yeah.
So
beautiful.
That's in a part-time job. So
I mean, that's probably a lot as well. She's managing part-time job, school. I think you were saying, we were talking before this podcast, that she plays sport as well. She still plays sport?
Yeah, netball, and coaches netball. So
busy.
She's busy, but that's how she likes it. She likes to be kept busy.
Yeah, lovely. Well, I guess so, Shane, I guess being the dad of a current Year 12 student, you've probably had your fair share of probably conversations about parties and things like that in the lead up to, well, not only schoolies, but I guess parties sort of. When did those sort of conversations start for you?
Probably started last year. Some of the friends wanted to have parties.
Yeah.
She hasn't sort of had too much interest at home about having parties.
Yeah.
And we've got the pool out the back, so it's just more social. Friends around, gathering around. But the parties have started externally. So,
yeah.
We've got a pretty good relationship. She's pretty open with us. Particularly with my wife more than me, but I think that's sometimes at that end.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've got 2 boys myself, but I don't have to worry. They're not teenagers yet. I don't have to really worry about that sort of thing yet. But no, it's really great that she is open about that and having those conversations with yourself and your wife. And I mean, I guess has she, obviously being in Year 12, has she spoken to you about schoolies at all this year?
She spoke to me about it last year.
Yeah.
And I guess my perception, probably like lots of people, mainstream media.
Yeah.
You hear always the bad stories.
Yeah.
Not the good things that happen. So I was like, always, to be honest, I'm not a fan of schoolies. I'd rather go somewhere else and do something with just a few friends or the parents, my parents' beach house at Meta, get away from schoolies. But when I got to do the behind the scenes tour, it definitely changed my perception on that. And I went home sort of pretty excited, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, we'll touch on that a little bit later, but I guess I'm just interested, what had you heard or what had you seen in the media or?
The usual binge drinking.
Yeah.
There's drugs and stuff around. That's probably always around. You can't stop it.
Yep.
So you just think, teenage kids in a caravan park by themselves, drinking, drugs, whatever else is kind of happening, getting in cars, driving.
Yeah.
So, and not close to home, so not in that arm's reach of sort of being there for them. So not that you want to put a blanket over your kids and stop them from experiencing life, but yeah, it's just the risk involved. And you think, do you need to put your kids, I mean, she'll be 18, but still my kid as such.
Absolutely.
My daughter in that position. So
it's a natural instinct. As parents, you want to protect your kids.
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah.
So no, I definitely understand where you're coming from with that. And I guess, how did that make you feel, Shane, when you'd seen things or heard things in the media? What was the feeling behind that when those sort of conversations come up with your daughter? What's the feeling behind it?
Look, I was a teenager once. We all sort of did things, except I guess for me the biggest difference was social media wasn't there. The media didn't fight things up maybe like they do now. Maybe they did. I just wasn't aware of it, and none of us were aware of it because it wasn't as easy to hear about and look at like it is on your phones now.
Yeah.
I guess I finished high school in year 12 in 92. So it's interesting because a friend of mine, his dad took his caravan down to Victor Harbour for us. We had 3 mates. We stayed there for 4 or 5 days in the caravan. This was before Schoolies was a thing down there. But I'd say we're pretty innocent. We're 18-year-old boys, but we didn't get into trouble. We really didn't do anything wrong, but it was just us. A caravan park or a town full of that. If it was back then, it might have been a different story, and who knows what could have happened. So.
Absolutely. I think social media, we could probably do a whole other podcast just in social media itself and phones and everything like that, media. But I guess as well, Shane, this might be a little bit of a controversial question I'm going to ask, but do you think that your feeling would have changed if you had a son, rather than a daughter? Do you think that would have affected the way that you think about it, or?
No, it would have been different feelings, different thoughts.
Yeah. How's
bars, drinking and showing off with their mates, being competitive. Different risks associated than a daughter. Yeah. Still would have felt the same, just for different reasons.
Yeah. I understand that's a sensitive question. But I guess it does highlight, I think, there is some discrepancies there or differences there in those feelings, I think. And I know you mentioned about Moonta, about Shacked Out at Moonta. Did you sort of originally your feelings about Schoolies Festival? Did you sort of try and guide your daughter down that path, rather away from Schoolies down to try and stay?
Initial sort of early conversations were about that when she said about Schoolies, and that was last year.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, I don't want you going there.
Yeah.
Why don't you go to the grandparents' shack at Moonta? And that sort of was that, and then kind of went quiet because didn't have to book or plan anything.
Yeah.
Then Schoolies come up, and at the same time, Schoolies last year, a mate of mine, his daughter's just finished year 12. She went to Schoolies.
Yeah.
She went down to a friend's place at a beach house, and they had a car accident.
Right.
So that was day one of their experience. Not saying that couldn't happen at Victor Harbour or anywhere, because it can, but they were isolated by themselves. No one around. So then it was like, okay, maybe that's not such a good idea either. What do you do?
Yeah. It is always hard, isn't it? And again, we go back to that feeling as a parents, you don't really want to feel helpless, do you? You want to be able to help, be there to help and support your children, support your kids, support your young people. So it's probably fair to say, Shane, that the initial feeling was probably one of a little bit of anxiousness, a little bit of maybe worry about your daughter heading down to Schoolies Festival. Where have you sort of ended up with that now, mate? Where are you at with that now?
So I'm encouraging her to go.
Yep.
And her friends.
Yep.
I had someone we know, their daughter was there last year, and she posted on social media, and it was just after I did a tour down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just reached out in a message. I had, look, it's pretty safe, should be good.
Yeah.
I was support around, so
that's amazing. You were reaching out to other parents and tell them about that.
Yeah.
Had you had conversations with other parents about it prior to that? No. Is it something that normally, I guess as a year 12 student, we mentioned earlier about party environments coming up, but has that communication with other parents been there before about those sorts of topics?
A little bit. It's probably harder now they're older. You don't have as much contact with the parents like they do when they're younger. Yeah. But she's got a couple of girls that she grew up with primary school that we still have a bit of contact with the parents there. So There is.
Yeah.
There was a party last year that wanted to go to. There was, going to be some alcohol and stuff there. Some were underage, some weren't.
Yep.
So, there was that conversation we just had with the parents through messaging and social media about what's happening at the party.
Well, it's really great to hear that your perception maybe has changed a little bit about that. We'll touch on that a little bit now, but was there, I guess you mentioned behind the scenes talk before, so I'm gonna ask you about that now. But was that the thing that ultimately led you to where you are and where your feelings are now towards Schoolies? Is that the sort of catalyst?
Yeah, 100%. That it was that tour that changed my mind. Yeah, walking out of that after 2, maybe 3 hours of the tour and conversations, definitely changed.
I guess for parents listening to this, Shane, can you perhaps take us through that? Can you take us through what actually happened on that tour?
Yeah, so first we met in the council chambers and just went through Encounter Youth and the background and how long they've been there and what Schoolies was like, I think, when they first became a part of it. I think it's like 20 volunteers back around 99, 2000 to where it is now.
Yeah.
Numbers I can't remember, but I think volunteers is probably over the 200 mark. I could be wrong, but
yes,
up around that.
Yep.
And then we went out to the event and to the caravan parks to see how it's managed, which was great. Security guards on the door. You can't take alcohol out. You've got to have the wristbands to go in there, so there's none of that sort of crossing and hopping between caravan parks, which can lead to bad decisions and bad behaviour.
Yep.
Caravan parks are great. So they had the green team, which was the volunteers, staying on site, food, drinks, PlayStations, a bit of a safe zone.
Yeah.
And a safe zone for the Schoolies to reach out, if they're in a bit of trouble or someone's in their tent and not well. Let's face it, 18-year-olds probably don't want to reach out to an ambulance or police, but if there's someone there that's a volunteer that can help them, that's their go-to person on site. So that was great to see.
Absolutely. Yeah, there is, I guess, that perception amongst young people, isn't there, about if they're going to call for an ambulance, they're worried about they're getting in trouble.
Yeah, that's right.
Their mate's getting in trouble or something like that. Yeah. So it is great to hear that you saw that there's green team volunteers there, or I think the St. John's are there as well. Yeah,
they were. Yeah. So they were both on site. And they were just engaging with the Schoolies that were there. Fun social environment. So that was really good to see. Then around the event itself, the medical centre was amazing. My wife's a nurse, so so I took a few photos and told her I was pretty excited about it actually. So that was good. From minor issues on one side to major traumas where there's a lot more support there on the other side.
Yeah.
Of the tent. So that was good.
Great.
Really impressive.
Yeah. Did that take you through the festival side at all as well?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, festival side. Even the communication centre to inside the festival. Yeah. Yep. And then all the buses that get them around. Where there's, again, the green team, the volunteers on the buses at all times. There's support there for them. Buses get them around to the different sites in different parts of the venue and to caravan parks. Yeah. Park the car, leave it, and you've got transport and you've got support really everywhere they go through the event.
So no need to sort of drive down there or take that risk, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the drive from Adelaide or the northeastern suburbs, or I'm from, it can be an hour and a half drive, which isn't a lot for some people. If it's teenagers, going in a car together and a few cars, there's lots of risk involved. So if you can take that out, get the bus from the city. Then your car's not there, so there's that risk again. It's mitigated because you haven't got your car there to start with.
It's really great to see that. As you left that, just another question. I haven't got it written down here for you, but I guess off the back of what you just said, what was your feeling like immediately after leaving that behind the scenes tour? How did you feel after leaving it? Were you surprised? Was it something you weren't expecting, or?
Yeah, surprised, not expected, better than I expected. Yeah. I really didn't notice. You just hear you're the negative side of it. So I was very surprised. Hopped in the car. I rang my wife straight away, talking about it.
Oh, great.
Yeah. I said, be good for her to go, and it was a really good event. Yeah. I can see it, that's me. So,
it's really great to hear. And it's really good to hear that I think social media, like we've spoken about already, plays that massive part in perception, especially amongst parents, I think, as well. And there's that we often, I think, listen to what we hear in the media or news stories or headlines or things like that. And it's sometimes maybe not. You had to experience it for yourself to be able to change that perception, I guess. I guess, Shane, what I'd like to finish up with is, would you recommend Schoolies Festival, or would you recommend is that as a safe place for Year 12s to go to celebrate?
Yeah, I would, and I have with my daughter, and I've said to her to do the same thing. So let your friends know, get your group together, go down there.
Yeah,
a safe environment, controlled environment. You can still have your fun and celebrate end of Year 12, but it's a safe zone at the same time.
Amazing. That's great to hear. And I guess as well, just before would you recommend maybe parents jumping on the behind the scenes story if it's available to them?
Yeah, it'd be great if they could do that. The other side of that, if it could, be delivered to schools in a video type form and a forum.
Okay. Yeah.
So, parents could get there after school and sort of get a behind the scenes tour virtually to see what it's about.
Yeah,
that'd be really good.
Amazing. Well, we do. County Youth does have that behind the scenes tour available, and so if there is any parents listening to this, definitely contact us here at Encounter Youth, and jump on that behind the scenes tour because it is available to parents. And like Shane has alluded to today, it is probably a great experience. It might change what you're thinking about, what your perception is of Schoolies Festival right now. And I just want to finish up, Shane, by just saying as well, we want to wish your daughter all the best with her studies.
Thanks.
Year 12. It is a stressful year.
Yeah.
Probably not only for her, but for you and your wife as well, I imagine. And also your younger daughter, probably.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, not that she's getting left behind. She's busy with the sport. She's in year 7, so she's got a few years to go. But a lot of the focus at the moment is her eldest daughter getting through Year 12, getting her grade she needs, and she wants to have a gap year next year, then go on to uni, and that's great. Yeah. Whatever's going to work for her, but supporting her the best we can at the moment.
Amazing. Well, Shane, thanks so much for joining us. So it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you about what your perceptions were and what they are now. So, amazing. Thank you so much, Shane.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.
We hope you enjoyed what we heard today directly from a parent of a Year 12 student in Shane and what he really thinks of Schoolies Festival in SA from a parent's perspective. Well, that's it for today's episode of Uncharted Parenting. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. We really hope you enjoyed this episode. We'd love to hear from all of our listeners, so if you have any questions that you would like us to answer here on the podcast, we want to hear directly from you. Send those questions in to us and we will be answering them right here on the pod. Please send them in to inquiry@encounteryouth.com.au. That's inquiry@encounteryouth.com.au. Remember, wherever you listen to your podcast, give us a follow, subscribe, send us a review, send in those questions by the bucket load, and remember, there is no map for parenting. You enter uncharted waters every single day, but there is a way forward. You're doing an amazing job already, and we're with you on that journey. We have some more amazing episodes coming your way very soon, but until next time, goodbye for now.